Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm out here on the deck getting ready to collect some pansies for making some tea. So one of my favorite blends involves fresh pansies. I prefer fresh pansies for teas over the dried pansies. My dried pansies mostly get used for infused oils and soaps and stuff like that. But when it comes to making vinegar and tea using the pansies, I prefer to have the fresh ones. I just think they yield a better flavor of tea. So that's what I got so far. I'll go ahead and collect a few more. And I might have a couple out front. And I gotta head out there anyway to get some other goodies. As I'm going by this, I'll go ahead and tell you where we're at. The weather has been very cold. Today is June 5th and I had to build a fire again, but look at the size of the sage plant. I've never seen it this huge. And I actually see one of my sages starting to get flowers. But one of the things I'm coming out here to get is some peppermint. I'll get a little from here. I've actually been putting up quite a bit of peppermint. And we'll get some mojito mint in there too. And it's, man, it looks like I still need to get out here. I just did a whole bunch of mints, and that's what I like about mints though. They give you lots and lots, and that's what I like to do, is get tons put away because I love mints in my tea. Most of my favorite tea blends always involve mint. Most of them. Okay, so then here's a flyby here of how things are looking in the West Herb garden. My elderberries are starting to get flowers. I might get a lot more elderberries off them this year. Okay, now I'm going to go out to the back garden because I'm going to be harvesting some marshmallow leaves, and that's where my biggest marshmallow plants are right now. This marshmallow here is already taller than I am. I can tell. It's probably about 5 feet 2 or 3 inches tall, and it's my tallest one right now. Usually the one down here, last year this one was the tallest, but then again what I've been doing, I've been drying up a bunch of marshmallow leaves, so some of the taller ones I've actually been snapping off right about here, and then what happens is it branches out and makes some more. You can see how this is branching out here. I didn't break this one off, but where's the one that I broke off here? Huh, I don't even see it now. But anyway, it'll make much more, and I've got some lots of good ones right here. I'm going to go ahead and just snap this whole thing off. Now that's one way I harvest them. It just depends on how full it is. The other thing I like to do is get in here on the inside and snap off some of these leaves. Okay, I'm probably moving a little too fast. Snap off some of the leaves from the inside. That way more light can get in there too. And it's funny that this guy is so short. But yeah, oh, here's one right here that I broke off. So you can see what's happening here. And this is going to happen with just about any plant, especially herbs. When you break them off, they're gonna make two or three sometimes new starts right from there, or new shoots right from where you broke it off. But the marshmallow will do that anyway. I haven't broken this one off at all, and it still gets these little guys coming up all over the place. But I think I'm going to try to keep the marshmallow a little shorter and yet thicker this year, so I can get more seeds once it starts flowering. Well, I could harvest a lot more, but I'm thinking I'm going to actually skip dehydrating anything today, and I've got more than enough for what I need for the tea. So we'll head inside and we'll start making the herbal infusion. Take that back. I'm going to go ahead and throw a little bit of my spearmint in there. The spearmint's just looking really good. Look at that. So we'll put a little bit of that in there too. Okay, now we'll head inside and get some tea made. I'm back in the kitchen and I'm ready to prepare my herbs for the tea. Now what I've already done is I've sprayed them down with some of my homemade vinegar, and then let them sit for just a few minutes and then rinse them off. That's just to ensure that I'm, you know, rinsing off any dirt and bugs and possibly animal pee. Most of the stuff like the marshmallow I don't have to worry about because it's so high up, and all the places it's growing the dogs can't get to anyway. But some of the peppermint and where it's growing is available for dogs to pee on. So I want to make sure I get that cleaned off. I prefer not to have that in my tea. So I just spray it down with the vinegar to kill anything and then rinse it off. I don't use hot water or anything like that when I'm doing that. Now, when I've got a bunch like this, like the marshmallow leaves, I'm going to go ahead and pull all those leaves off the main, that thick stem, because I'd rather not have that in there just for the sake of taking up space. It's not going to hurt anything having it in there, but I just, you know, and same thing goes with the peppermint. Sometimes I won't leave these big thick parts. I might pull these leaves off and then just have that much of a stem on the peppermint. Same thing goes when I'm dehydrating it. I do that same thing. I pull the leaves off, try to get as many of the real thick stems off. Otherwise they just take up a lot of space in the dehydrator and cause it to take more time in dehydrating. Now, once you get, you know, all the stuff, and also look through there, like there's a little chunk of something there that I didn't want in there, you know, you'll get pieces of grass or whatever. You may not want those in there. They're not going to hurt you, most of that stuff, but you may not want it in your tea. So now, I know I did my last tea video, I showed you I just shove all the stuff in there. Well, I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but I recently started getting to where I'll crush the herbs a little bit before putting them in the water, and that will help release a lot more of those good benefits that are in there and the flavor, and it really made a difference. So one thing you can do is you can just tear your things up like this, and then even just like taking your peppermint and your herbs and just kind of twisting them like you're wringing them out. That's one thing you can do. The marshmallow leaves, because some of them are they'll get even bigger than this, but because some of these are on the bigger side, I still would like to tear them up. But I have just even taken the whole cluster. I'm not so much worried about the pansies because they're very delicate anyway, but I'll throw them in the mix and just wring it like that and kind of crush it and tear it, and that's just going to get you a better flavor. And you see how much I had there, and I'm just shoving that all into the pot. Because when it comes to fresh herbs, the more that you can get in there, the better, because it's going to actually cook down a lot like when you're cooking kale or cabbage or anything like that. It seems like it's taking up a lot of room, but then once you cook it down, it's going to take up a lot less room. So you can see how it's filling up the pot like that, but I can really smash it down and have a lot more space in there. Okay, so now I'm just pouring some filtered rainwater right over the top of those herbs. And another thing you can do is once you have it all in there like that, take some kind of spoon or a fork. I love these little bamboo spoons. I can link to these below. I use them for a lot of things. I use them for stirring my vinegar and my water kefir. But anyway, you can just kind of push them down in there and kind of mash them a little bit while you got it in there. That's another thing you can do to help release all the flavor and vitamins, nutrients, and all that's in there. Okay, now all I need to do is put it on whatever heat source I'm going to use, whether it be my hot plate that's hooked up to our solar power, my rocket stove, which I don't have fired up today, but I will eventually, or my wood stove, which surprisingly enough, today is June 5th, as I said earlier. I've got a fire going in my wood stove. Can you believe that? It's crazy. It's that cold around here. So I'm going to go put this on the wood stove and let it get good and hot. I actually like to let it simmer for probably about 30 minutes or so. I like it, I find the longer it simmers, the more flavor I get, and I like it that way best. I like it good and strong, and partly because I just like a lot of flavor, but also because I feel like I'm just getting a lot more in it. So the longer you're simmering something, it's going from being just an infusion to then a decoction. And decoctions are typically used for roots, anything that's real woody, but I like to do it even with my more fragile things like the pansies and the mint and stuff, because it just yields a much better flavor. So I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna let it steep. I'm gonna let it simmer and steep for a while, and then I'll come back and pour you a cup so you can see what it looks like, because I didn't do that in the last video and I had somebody that was disappointed. So I'm gonna make sure I do that in this video. So I'll be back after a bit. All right, well here it is. Pouring the tea. Look at the color of that, and I tell you, it smells wonderful. See that? Nice strong tea. Now this has little pieces of herbs and stuff in there. That doesn't bother me. It just stays at the bottom for the most part and doesn't get in my way. And then this little thing here, you might have seen, I've got a video on how I make these, and I also offer them for sale on my Etsy store if you're interested. They're really great for things like teapots, bigger pots for the side handles, and all kinds of stuff. So I actually use these more than I do my skillet handle covers. Oh, and another video you might find interesting is the one I have on this silver teapot that I found at a garage sale. And yes, it is silver. But anyway, so there's the tea. So I hope you give it a try. Marshmallow, mint, and pansy tea. Very good. And actually, for some reason, this one tends to taste a lot like Marshmallow, the treat, to me. All right, well, hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.